Have you ever noticed while you were watching the news that some stories seem to get tons of coverage while other stories seem to get little or no coverage at all? Or have you noticed while reading the paper that some stories seem to get plastered all over the front page while other stories are buried deep in a different section somewhere? Well, this is the notion of agenda setting. So you might be thinking, what the heck is agenda setting? Well, allow me to enlighten you today on the agenda setting theory and how it is prevalent in our lives today. So with that being said, let's move on. The agenda setting theory describes the ability of the media to influence the general importance placed on certain topics of the public agenda. It is a social science theory, and it attempts to make predictions on what the public will deem newsworthy. Originally, the mantra of this theory was that the media does not tell us what to think, but only tells us what to think about. The first major study conducted on the notion of agenda setting was piloted by Max McCombs and Donald Shaw. This study, known as the Chapel Hill Study, was conducted in 1968 and published in 1972. McCombs and Shaw surveyed 100 residents from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and asked them to determine what issues they felt were the most important of the 1968 presidential election. From this, the pair were able to determine the degree of which the media sways public opinion. This was also very prevalent in the 2016 presidential election, which ultimately led to the election of President Donald Trump. The coverage of Hillary Clinton's email scandal ultimately led to her downfall as she controlled the race for much of the time leading up to the election day. Since the Chapel Hill study in 1972, over 400 other studies on agenda setting have been published, and this still remains one of the most relevant theories we have to this day. In addition to being able to tell us what to think about, the media also can tell us how to think about something as well. This is known as framing. The media frames a story by using a certain perception of it. For example, one may be watching Fox News, and they may have a different attitude of the president than somebody from CNN may have, as those are two different networks. Fox News is known as a notoriously conservative network, and CNN is known as more of a liberal network, as conservatives align with conservatives, liberals align with liberals. So this gets me to the question, does the media really set the agenda for us, or do we set the agenda for the media? With the rise of news technology and social media, regular folks like me and you are able to have a larger platform than ever before. Having that platform, us as consumers of media can now become producers of media, and with that, we have the ability to tell others what to think about. Users of social media control what they see or what they want to see, so that definitely influences on what the media decides to put out. Since the birth of media, it has always set the public agenda. But social media, which allows for more personal customization, you have the ability to somewhat control what you see and hear. Thus, you are forming your own beliefs, and not because someone is drilling it to you. You are making these decisions on your own. You are setting your own agenda. I know, speaking from my own experiences with the media, my phone and social media apps are always constantly collecting data of the things that I view and the things that I search, so that it can cater to the things that I want to see. With the ability to use social media as a platform, people are now becoming social influencers. Social influencers are using and benefiting from their social media platforms, and they do this by reaching their following. Influencers include Kylie Jenner and DJ Khaled, just to name a few, as they use the app Snapchat as their main platform. Kylie Jenner has the most followed user account on Snapchat, and DJ Khaled has gained a ton of notoriety and following for his daily motivational Snap stories. So to conclude, the public agenda is constantly changing. The rise of the new media is allowing for people to make and create their own media, thus making and creating their own opinions. The platform, as I stated earlier, for the average person is much larger than it has been ever before. It would only be right to take advantage. I think that us as consumers have a much bigger say in what we want to see and hear. But what do you think? Does the media set the public agenda, or do we set the public agenda?